Times like these really give us a good indication of why it's so important to train year-round. So we're coming out of winter and we're in the thick of the COVID-19 disaster. And so what we have coming up is what I'm calling the COVID summer. All of us are isolated in our houses right now, unable to get out. The weather's finally starting to turn nice, and we're in the middle of this pandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to call it. Having done a substantial amount of personal training all winter long, I'm feeling very confident right now in my skills and abilities should this be prolonged or take a turn for the worse. I mean, we saw what people were doing over toilet paper. If all of a sudden the shortage is food and not something as insignificant as toilet paper, imagine how people are going to behave. So I'm appreciative of the fact that I spent winter training, and I'm in a good place right now if I have to use those skills to protect myself. But I know most people that I know take winter off. There's a reason that a lot of firearms training companies don't run classes in the wintertime in cold states, and that's because nobody would come. I have a hard time getting even some of the people that I shoot with to get out in the wintertime and train. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to point out some of the benefits of forcing yourself to get out and train, even in the wintertime, even when the weather's not good. And the first point is adversity. Nothing will expose you to adversity in training the way that a harsh winter will. And what I mean by that is you have to wear a lot of extra clothes, so you're extra bulky and heavy. Once you get cold, everything your body does, you move slower, it's more difficult. Once your hands get cold, it's hard to feel the gun, it's hard to press the trigger smoothly. All of these things become that much more difficult, even without doing anything to induce stress or exhaustion. It really tests your skills and helps you improve. And what I've found over the past years is that when I come into summer, everything is so easy because I've trained all winter long to be proficient, that being able to do those things in winter makes doing them in summer effortless. Another reason to train in the wintertime is it is the easiest time of year to do low light, no light weapons training. It's very difficult for a lot of us to find a range, an indoor range that'll let you shoot in the dark. It's very difficult in summertime to shoot at 10 o'clock at night and not be disturbing somebody's peace. But winter gives you this opportunity. 5 p.m., it is dark. It is pitch black dark by 6 p.m. And so it gives you this opportunity to get out at reasonable hours where the noise is not keeping people up at night and get in that low light, no light training. Winter is when I do the lion's share of my low light, no light practice. Another thing is timeliness, in the sense that we don't get to choose the time that we have to utilize those skills to protect ourselves. And so you have a situation like right now where the weather's finally turning, and there's a lot of people who would start to go out and train about this time of year, but now we can't because we are ordered to isolate, or the ranges aren't open. If you don't have a private place to go shoot, your shooting ranges are probably not open right now. With the COVID thing, if you don't have a stockpile of ammunition to train with, it's going to be very hard to get it right now, or you're going to pay a premium to get your hands on training ammo. So the timeliness of training, it has to be all the time. You never know what time of year, what the type of weather, what the situation is going to be when you are going to wish that you felt very confident in your proficiency with those tools. You have to train year-round in order to do that, and you have to train in adverse weather conditions, and that's going to include cold. And the last thing I want to look at with this is not regret if you didn't train all winter, or regret if you have a habit of taking winters off, but rather use this as an opportunity to learn from this. This was one of those situations where we came out of winter, and just as we're getting into spring, all of a sudden catastrophe hits. And so if your habit in the past has been to take winters off, this is a good opportunity to remember what it felt like when you were ordered to isolate and all of a sudden the ammo dried up and you're looking at yourself saying, I haven't shot my gun in 6 months. I hope I'm up to the task if this goes really bad. And I don't think it will. But if it does, it's very comforting to know that I've maintained my proficiency over the winter and I'm not coming into this at a disadvantage. Um, I'm happy to feel confident in those skills that I can walk into the COVID summer, whatever that ends up looking like, just like this.